Literature overview: Diversity, Inclusion, and Cultural Awareness for Classroom and Outreach Education. So one of the first points that the author made in this article is that diversity in education includes students from many races, genders, and socioeconomic backgrounds. These can include students who speak a variety of different languages and those students who come from many different cultures. I wanted to point out really quickly that the author stated in the article that in the past 3 decades, they have seen increases in racial and ethnic minority students across the educational system. Alrighty, the next point that the author made is that children who come from stigmatized groups often struggle in school, and this is due to their minority status. The article gave an example, and it stated that, for instance, a high percentage of racial minority college students perceive racial discrimination and isolation from their non-minority peers. This leads me into the next point that the author discussed, which is that negative perceptions from others can lead to negative perceptions of oneself. For example, middle and high school girls have reported that participating in mathematics extracurricular activities, such as school math clubs, is unpopular for girls. Female students state that they are less likely than male students to see themselves taking future science courses, engineering courses, and pursuing careers that ultimately involve science and engineering fields. Many girls believe that these science and engineering classes are less suitable for women than for men. These types of negative perceptions do persist into high school and even beyond, and they can translate into high school girls actually believing that they have lower abilities in science than do their fellow peers who are boys. Alrighty, the next point on here that the author gave is that parental support plays a key role in the lives of minority students. There was research done that showed parental support can be valuable in positively influencing minority students' future aspirations, their expectations concerning education, and academic achievement, and self-efficacy concerning career decisions. So ultimately, parents of minority students do have high aspirations for their children's academic attainment and for their success as well. There was a study done, and I will state that now. The research in that study showed that Latino students who have high quality relationships with and receive academic support from their siblings report higher levels of academic motivation than those who do not. Also, I wanted to quickly mention that the article stated fewer family resources can also lead to educational situations that produce further barriers to education. So as you can see, having that family support and influence is definitely important in the lives of minority students and regular students as well. Okay, so the next point on here is stereotype threats. A stereotype threat occurs when somebody feels threatened in a particular domain for which a negative stereotype is held about a group in which they belong to. This can actually result in an impaired performance. Specifically, the performance is impaired because one feels scared that he or she will inadvertently confirm the negative stereotype about his or her group in which they belong. These feelings of exclusion may be confirmed by the lack of support, encouragement, and even engagement in the classroom. Alrighty, the final point that I wanted to mention that the author gave is that it is important for educators to be aware of the negative effects of exclusion and the positive benefits of diversity, inclusion, and cultural awareness. Incorporating diversity, inclusion, and cultural awareness can have several positive outcomes. The first being that diversity and inclusiveness in classrooms can actually help boost students' confidence and self-efficacy about their performance. In addition, diversity helps create two different types of positive outcomes. These are learning outcomes and democracy outcomes. The learning outcome essentially identifies what the learners will be able to do by the end of a program, and it's also related directly to the processing of knowledge and information by the students. The democracy outcome involves perspective taking, citizen engagement, and greater racial and cultural understanding, different things like that. So overall, this point is trying to state that increasing diversity may increase the knowledge and other learning outcomes for all students. Alrighty. So for the author's conclusions, they gave a list of several research tested strategies implemented specifically for educators. So I went ahead and selected a few of those that I'm going to go ahead and present now. So the first one on the list is to provide diverse examples for students. One of the ways that you can do this is to provide role models. When students see successful role models who are similar to them, it helps them build confidence that they too can be successful in that particular domain. For instance, female students who are exposed to women who have performed successfully in mathematics and science-related fields uh, perform better than female students who are not exposed to those examples. Another way to provide role models is to actually invite speakers to come in physically to the class and talk to the students about their different backgrounds. Um, when they come in with their different backgrounds and they are successful, regardless of the background, it will help students identify with someone who is pursuing a career of interest in what they're also interested in. Um, if bringing in diverse role models physically in the class does not work, if that's not feasible, that is absolutely not a problem. Educators can still implement this technique by creating bulletin boards, for example. They can depict recent accomplishments by diverse individuals in a field while providing literature that highlights diverse practitioners in the field. They can provide role models and examples of diverse individuals who have succeeded and are still succeeding in a certain field. And this can also help reduce negative impacts of stereotypes for female and minority students. Alrighty. Next on the list is to involve students in active learning. Active learning is very important in the development of children. It engages students in learning. It increases the knowledge of subject above and beyond that of simple, boring, plain instruction, and it can be implemented in several ways. These can include demonstrations, role playing, debates, hands-on experiments, and student-led discussions, different things like that. Active learning can also foster creativity and experimentation within students as well. Alrighty, next on the list is to engage students in interdependent group activities. An example that the article quickly gave is teachers can employ the jigsaw classroom. This is a group activity that fosters group participation and interdependence by providing each group member with a critical piece of information that is necessary for the group to succeed in its goals. The article states that the method has been shown to increase student self-esteem and help minority students to improve their academic performance without having a decrease in majority student performance. This strategy can also help prevent students' feelings of isolation. So everybody has a piece in this project, so nobody feels left out, and they all get to work on it together, which is really, really cool. Alrighty, the next point is that is culturally responsive teaching strategies. Culturally responsive teaching strategies infuses cultural characteristics, perspectives, and experiences of ethnically and racially diverse students into one's own teaching style to help a broader range of students to understand the content that is being presented. Um, Next on the list is outreach education programs. These are important because you can become aware of, incorporate, and promote these programs to prepare students, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds, to succeed at the next level of academia for which they will be attending, whether it's someone going from middle school to high school or someone going from high school to college. This just essentially prepares them for that next step that they will be taking in their education. Outreach programs are also really cool because it can help prepare students for the cost of education. It can provide resources for financial support. And this is, like I said, really beneficial for parents so they can see any financial barriers that they're going to have to overcome in their child's education and how they can adequately prepare for that. Alrighty, so the article relation to EDU 222. So this article is relatable to EDU 222 in various ways. I remember a few chapters back reading about diverse education, and that's essentially why I wanted to do an article on this. I think it is important for educators to understand how to properly present effective teaching strategies to attain to all types of students, whether you come from different backgrounds, you speak a different language, or anything like that. So I just wanted to learn more about that and how I can be an effective teacher for my future students that I will one day have. So I do highly recommend this article. I did learn a lot. I learned a lot more than I did, and I now have a more broad understanding of diverse education in the classroom. So that is my presentation, and thank you guys for watching.